a little over a month from now, after hitting up Cedar Point, my second to last park of this year's coaster tours is Kings Island. So, in anticipation, this is video 3 out of 4 of Ride Ranking Predictions, Kings Island Edition. Dead last, at the number 15 spot, we have Great Pumpkin Coaster. As expected, it's, a great pumpkin coaster. It's a basic E&F miler. It's not very exciting, it just kind of exists in the park. Not even really going to be that annoyed if I can't ride it, and the only reason I might, keyword being might, get on it just to bump up my credit count. Then, after that, the number 14 spot, we have Flying Ace Aerial Chase. It's a Vekoma hang and bang, and even though I've yet to ride one, I still think it looks pretty uninteresting regardless. It's definitely going to be the lowest on my list of suspended coasters, so I guess all I'm curious about is it as rough as they say? I had the opportunity to go on one in Dream World. However, the line was, I believe, around an hour and a half long, and I am not waiting that long for just a ride that, it's a small helix, maybe mini airtime hill or two. It's not worth an hour and a half wait. So hopefully it's not that long at Kings Island, but I'll just have to see. Next up, coming at the number 13 spot, we have Woodstock Express. This is very similar to Woodstock Express at Cedar Point, and I believe it has most of the same statistics. So I guess it'll be a repeat ride, I suppose, and a clone. And yes, I count clones as credits. But it still has good stats. But in all honesty, the other coasters here are just better, so that's why I'm putting it near the bottom of the list. And next up, at the number 12 spot, we have Snoopy Soapbox Racers. Out of all the family rides at Kings Island, this looks to be the best, most likely. I've ridden only one kind of a family boomerang before. I don't know if you count Jungle Rush as one, but this one will be somewhat new, I suppose. It'll be a unique experience that I'm looking forward to for the most part. I've heard it's fun, I've heard it's smooth, the design of it is beautiful, and although it's not the longest, I still think it's going to be a good warm-up ride in the long run. Next up, at the number 11 spot, we have Adventure Express. This seems to be a relaxing, moderate ride, somewhat similar to Snoopy Soapbox Racers in terms of intensity. And while it still doesn't have the most exciting layout, it's going to be another good warm-up ride, most likely, if I ride it in the morning. But it's long, it's scenic, more longer and scenic compared to Snoopy, and I hope it won't be too janky, but then again, it's Aero, but even regardless of its smoothness, I still think I'm going to have a pretty fun time on it. And next up at the number 10 spot, we have Backlot Stunt Coaster. Now into the top 10, we have what looks to be the best bridge between a family and a thrill ride, Backlot Stunt Coaster. It's a good length, the layout is interesting, but the launches look pretty punchy, and from what I've heard, it's a great ride. Although the theming and details surrounding the ride look good, the reason why I put it so low is because of the course. After the helix, it just kind of meanders around towards the final brake run, and from what I've seen, it looks pretty slow for most of the part. It just kind of small, shallow turns at ground level, and although, it has a good speed throughout, I may place it higher. I just have to wait and see how it runs when I eventually get on it, see if the POVs justify my opinion on it. And next up at the number 9 spot, we have Racer. Racer, which will actually be my first ever racing coaster, or second, and if I can get on Gemini, looks really fun and fills some great opportunities for airtime. I'm just unsure on how the ride will actually deliver. I've seen multiple perspectives on this ride, some saying it's dull and forceless, some people saying it's pleasant but not special. I'm getting a lot of mixed opinions on it. I've heard that it has some airtime, I've heard that it has no airtime, and because of that, I just can't put it any higher than number 9, unfortunately. Next up, at the number 8 spot, I have Flight of Fear. This one was a really hard one to place, to be honest. I was in between 8 and 9 for it, but I ultimately decided to put it above Racer. Just what makes this ride better and more appealing to me is the launch and the inversions, coupled with it being in the dark and a really cool theme to it. The Cobra Roll and Corkscrew at the end look fantastic. However, the pacing in the second half looks a bit concerning. The mid-course brake run just completely kills the momentum, stopping the train completely on it, which I will think will be a buzzkill for a lot of the ride. And unfortunately, because of that, even though the first half looks fun, I just can't put it any higher because of that. It just seems a little dull, to be completely honest, in the second half. Yeah. But next up at the number 7 spot, I have Invertigo. This will be my first and probably only ever inverted Vekoma boomerang. It looks really intense, and from what I've heard, it's genuinely scary, especially going through the Cobra Roll. However, the ride has been standing but not operating for quite a while now, with testing only commencing 1 or 2 days ago, and because of this, I don't know if I'll really be able to ride it. But if I can easily see this being Kings Island's most intense coaster, if not one of their best. I just really hope it's running. It looks like a blast, and it's rare credit after all, so if I can get on it, it'd be great. Almost making the top 5 at the number 6 spot, we have Bat. The Bat will be my second ever suspended swinging coaster, assuming I can get on Iron Dragon at Cedar Point, and it looks like to be the better of the two that I'll have a chance to ride. It'll be fun, swinging from side to side along a beautifully designed layout, and the drops and transition are amazing on this ride, especially the first drop, and it looks like it'll have some pretty phenomenal laterals. Almost reminds me a bit of Maverick towards the first to middle half. I mean, if Maverick was suspended. But the only reason why it's not in my top 5 is because of the length. I just wish it was a little bit longer. Maybe a couple more transitions, or hell, maybe even like a secondary lift hill would be awesome. But beggars can't be choosers, and I'm happy with what I have. But the coasters ahead of it just seem better. Next up, at the number 5 spot, I have Beast. The Beast looks to be a great ride, and true to its name, it's going to be a beast of a wooden coaster. It's long and it's sprawling, with the drops especially looking impeccable, especially the elongated one into the helix. However, I don't think it has that much airtime, and I really think just the laterals of the coupled with the speed will still make it fun, which is why I narrowly edged out Bat, but I'm hoping it'll have a little bit of airtime. As much as I admire laterals, I usually prefer airtime and a couple of good inversions over that, so I'll just have to wait and see, because it still looks great even without the airtime, and I'm hoping I can get a night ride on it. I'll just have to see how it fares. Next up, at the number 4 spot, I have Orion. Orion will be my first ever B&M Giga, and yes, I consider it a Giga coaster. And there are just so many good elements, especially the wave turn, the first drop, and some of the speed and airtime hills. I do think that there are a couple of filler elements on this ride, but the rest of it looks exciting. I know that some people don't count it as a Giga coaster. I personally do because of the drop, and I think it's going to be fun. However, I'm not sure how it's going to compare to Millennium Force, because Millennium Force on the first hand, while it does have a very repetitive layout, it has a really good length to it, and Orion is just kind of short, and although it does have more uniqueness to it compared to most other B&M Hyper Giga coasters like Fury 325, I'm just not sure how it's going to fare, so yeah. Next up, starting at number 3, we have Mystic Timbers. This looks to be the best coaster, the wooden coaster I should say, I'll have the chance of riding this year, and it'll definitely be better than Beast. The laterals and airtime mix together perfectly, it's the perfect duration, the shed is unique, I've heard the trains are very comfortable, plus it's whippy and low to the ground, so I'll have a good sense of speed throughout. It seems very smooth too, and from what I've heard, runs great with great trains and a great layout, and even though, people were disappointed in the shed, I still think it's going to be a great ride regardless of that. Next up at the number 2 spot, I have Diamondback. Diamondback will be my first ever traditional B&M Hyper, and who knows, it may even beat DC Rivals as my favorite hypercoaster up to date. It has a great layout too, with some really strong looking airtime moments, especially in the first half, and a great setting too, with maybe one of the best finales on a coaster with the splashdown. I've also never ridden a coaster with this style of staggered seating either, so it'll be unique, but still really fun. I'm just kind of curious to see how it'll be being on one of the left or right edge seats. And although it does have a mid-course brake run, both halves of the ride just still look amazing, and I've heard it's really smooth. However, there is one other B&M that I think may beat it in the long run, which brings us to our number 1, Banshee. Yes, this may annoy some and ruffle some feathers, but to me, this looks like the best B&M invert. I mean, it's enormous, has a great variety of elements, and it's very unique compared to most other B&M inverts. The color scheme is beautiful, the trains look decently comfy. I'll just have to see how they compare to Gold Coaster's restraints, and it's the perfect length too. I'm especially excited for the pretzel knot and the inline twist, and I can't really think of many imperfections related to Banshee. I have heard that it has a bit of a rattle, but even if it does, I don't care. This ride looks amazing. If there was one thing I could do to make it better, though, I would say maybe have the second half be a bit whippier. Maybe after the helix, maybe a couple more elements to it. But regardless of that, it just still looks amazing, which is why I have it as my number 1. So that does it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed some of my rankings or watching the video. And as I said in the previous video, I'll be doing every other week now. So I will see you guys the Saturday after this. However, still posting shorts on Wendy's. So, yep, see you guys later.